Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. The VCT Kickoffs officially begin today. The Challengers qualifiers came to an end last night. Lots of drama going around, not just in the Challenger side, but also Sentinels versus G2 going at it a fair bit right before the Kickoffs begin. Different groups, however, for these two respective teams. Will they both advance from their rather challenging groups, especially in Sentinels' case? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I would greatly appreciate it. First of all, here T1. We saw yesterday they confirmed Zeta retiring from VALORANT, stepping away, at least for the time being, but pretty much confirming that he's going to be out of there. But actually, T1 also confirmed that Dida is joining the team as a coach, so hopefully that works out for them as well. Actually, I believe Zeta was in the replies as well, saying good luck, Jacob. It was nice knowing you, but maybe Zeta can return at some point. We shall see on that one. But there was also this over the last couple of days on the VALORANT Champions Tour sponsors with iBuyPower. Now, iBuyPower, of course, if you guys aren't aware, okay, PC company, whatever, but back in the Counter-Strike days, known primarily for, they had a team in the Counter-Strike days involving Steel and the, match-fixing drama that still reverberate, shall we say, even to the present day. So it was just interesting that we saw iBuyPower partner with the Americas as their official PC partner. And then yesterday we saw Steel, who's also involved in that whole drama, is getting involved in the English roster talent for the EMEA region. So, iBuyPower, it seems, taken over the world. Some usual suspects here, of course, as always, but I thought it was cool to see the special guest they're bringing in and potentially more pro guests as well. But Zoe, of course, which is, great to see, of course, she from the Overwatch League side, really. She's coming over here now. Frankie, as well as a special guest, was nice to see. And then Steel. So, this is the EMEA talent. I know that people were talking about it, and for good reason. So, good stuff, of course, for all of these involved. But also, we've got to talk about challenges from yesterday. We saw this yesterday, actually. I shared this video for you guys of QOR when they qualified through for challenges. But there's been further pictures on this, and I wanted to share them just because this is what grassroots esports is all about right here. Here we are, 5 guys, the coach, whatever, in the same room together. You've got this massive pile of what looks like to be Dr. Pepper cans maybe in the background. I don't really know. Something like that anyway. And they've all got all these cheap desks and tables and everything. They've got this set up. There's probably some sort of wire running across the floor with a massive extension lead, which is on the verge of collapsing with all the wattage that they're trying to draw through it, right? But, it's just spectacular scenes, really, especially when this was their setup. So they got a place, and we can see all of the boys on the floor here, sleeping on these mattresses in the same room, and this is just what it's all about, it makes me it makes me happy to see stuff like this, to be honest, that this is what it takes for these guys, because this is the whole point of esports in a certain way, and the real point of an open circuit system where guys like this, they can really come together as a team. They can qualify through the open qualifier and try and really take things to the next level. Right now they were in the challenger side. That's that's a dream to qualify for that, and now it's all of going to the next level, right? Once you're in challenges, you've got the chance to get to Ascension, got the chance to get noticed and really move up in the world beyond that. So just thought it was fantastic to see. There was also some responses as well that Snarly says the rumors are true, we were on the floor here. He says that it actually surprisingly didn't smell completely terrible, which you might have expected it to, but I thought it was just a cool story, really, that these guys eventually managed to qualify. Now there was also drama in challenges from this guy Torify. Now, what this is about is Torify was dropped from the Ambrosia team, we'll see in a second, just before the qualifier roster lock, which is unfortunately always how things go, is that it's just how it works in tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, whatever you want to say. That they had a team ready to go for the qualifier, and literally minutes before, basically hours before, whatever, they dropped this guy, they put Exalt into the team, and of course it left Torify with no options, right? Because the time frame was so short that he wasn't able, therefore, to qualify through and, join another team to qualify for, to go through the open qualifiers. So they dropped him for Exalt. Exalt comes into that team, and, basically they lose. They didn't make it further enough. Of course, they lost to Thinking Men in the end, the team that actually went on to win the entire thing. We'll discuss here in a second. But Exalt had a bad time here. So that's what Torify is getting across, really. I think the final map, Exalt went 3-15 here, 13-2 they got on the Ascent. So, that was Torify getting his point across. It's you dropped me, what goes around comes around, karma came to eat you, effectively. This, though, was the grand finals. So, this was one of the most ridiculous things you're ever really going to see. I I don't know what Thinking Men are doing here. They weren't thinking particularly well, I'm not going to lie. But have a look at this. 4 versus 2, perfect situation here for Thinking Men. Even Paint gets this next kill as well. So, Spaz goes down. Okonos 1 versus 4. 1 round required for these boys to take it to a map 3. Thinking Men, though, just need 1 round to take it to overtime. So they decide to, go down mid to try and escape this. But Okonos hits the flank, gets 2 here on the jet, trying to, cut them off as they try and bring the spike over to All Day. And there just isn't enough time left for Paint to actually win this one. So just unbelievable clutch there from Okonos. Obviously a big misplay from Thinking Men, but there just wasn't the time once the spike was acquired to get it down. And that was a round loss and a map loss. So I'd have been fuming if I was Paint in that scenario. But to be fair, Blinn Esports eventually did go down to Thinking Men 2-1. On the split, it was 39 in the end. So congratulations to those fellas. And yeah, through they go. Lear, Reformed, those other individuals. Paint as well. I know that he looks bottom of the scoreboard here just because he plays on the duelist role. But he actually had some really impactful moments as well in this series. And that's the final team to qualify through for challenges for the next season. So congrats to all involved. Obviously, a few teams retained over from last year. A few more teams have now qualified, and that is your selection we'll see in the coming days. There's also Son of Cut, of course. He didn't quite qualify in the end. He had that pretty legendary series on the Chamber a little while ago. Their team didn't quite make it, but yeah, Son, it's funny really because his name is quite memorable. Then people were talking about him, and of course he was absolutely frying as well, so that helps definitely. But still, people are talking about Sanakar. Now he's tweeting out exploring opportunities. People are liking the tweet, and people are really gassing him up. So it would be interesting to see. And this is the other point, that sometimes these teams qualify for challenges, and then once you've qualified, they might make a roster change, and some of those guys that qualified might be gone if there's other players they wanted to sign. So I guess we'll see over time, but I think Son of Car's done enough to possibly get a spot in challenges at some point, as and when those teams might look to make changes, which might be shorter or at least sooner than we might otherwise expect. But today, of course, a massive day in the Valorant world, because the kickoff tournaments today officially begin, starting in the Americas and then around the world over the next couple of days. Sentinels, they start tomorrow because Group A happens today. Group B, which is Sen's group, happens tomorrow. There was, as you might expect, a bit of beef and drama here between G2 and Sentinels. It is fun, the fact that we have G2 back in the league, of course, because they were out of the league. They were fighting it out in Tier 2. They then got the opportunity to go through and acquire the guard team that won Ascension, and now they're back in the league. So the GT versus Sentinels storyline that was a big talking point, obviously, over the last few years. Great content they do here. And look, also they mentioned Sentinels in this one, calling them a clown and all this type of stuff, right? I thought it was pretty entertaining. But to be fair, Sentinels clap back in the replies and they say, money's tight right now. Appreciate you letting us live in your heads rent-free. So, yeah, we'll see if G2 are any good, because obviously they should be good. Their roster theoretically is talented, but they were the Ascension winners. So how theoretically good can you expect them to be? To be fair, a couple of those players, Trent, Val, and others, were definitely linked to joining top franchise teams at some point. That never happened. 100T, for example, they were linked to. That didn't happen though. So, on paper, solid team for sure. Are they going to be good enough to qualify for Masters Madrid? That's a big question. Sentinels certainly are good enough to qualify for Masters Madrid. Whether they can execute on that potential that they've shown so far, that's another question. Just a couple of scrimbucks as well going around. Not too many that really went the distance to really know what was happening. All we can see here is, Sen 1-4 against a team, M80 4-2 against G2. G2 down 7-11 to Oxygen. Of course, we know that they're arguably the best team in Challengers Ascension this year. Then G2 up 12-9 on Lev. So pretty interesting, because all the maps we've seen of Lev over the last few days, they've been kind of cooking. Not the case here. Cloud9 14-10, 100T 11-1 against an unknown team. So interesting selection of scrimbucks, but thankfully we get to stop thinking about scrimbucks now and we get to actually see what the real matches are. I just wanted to do a quick set of predictions here, just because my predictions are always terrible, so I thought I might as well try and get them wrong again. I actually think in the Americas it's just incredibly hard to call, because there are so many excellent teams, or at least teams with so much potential. We don't know if they're excellent yet, but what we do know is that these teams have big upside. Like Cloud9, for example, I don't think I've got them making it out of this group, although I will predict them to beat MIBR. But I think that Oxy is just so good that if he turns up, they can beat pretty much anybody. So NRG Furia, I think that NRG should have enough here to make it out of this group. I'm going to take NRG, but actually in the lower side, I know that I mentioned MIBR a little bit, but I'm not really sure I'm much confident in them, to be fair. But I will take Furia, getting a bit of an upset result here, and take NRG and Furia getting out of the group. I guess most people would probably predict NRG Cloud9, and I think it could be any combination of a few of those teams. But NRG, this group should be doable for them, given the amount of talent on that team. We know that their practice maybe hasn't been spectacular, but, you know, this is a different story when it comes to proper matches in this type of setting. And I'm going to take Fury making it through from the second side. I think I'm going to go somewhat more traditional here on Group B, because I do think Sentinels should be the better team than Loud, despite all that drama. I do think Lev should be a better team than 100T. And, you know, Sen are on a massive win streak. I'm going to keep the Senopium going and take them getting out of the number 1 seed here. And then I think I'm just going to take Lev to beat Loud. So I'm going pretty, you know, this is probably what most people would predict here for Group B. It's definitely the group of death. On paper, to me, Sen and Lev should be the better teams. Loud, I still have my question marks over. If we do get a Lev-Loud match here for, you know, Aspas versus former team, that would be very exciting. And poor 100T, I've got them going at last place. Look, they're a team 100T that, until they prove that they can really deliver in a setting such as this, I just can't, in good faith, pick them to go that far. Just because we've seen it before when 100T, which, okay, it's a little bit different now. They've got some different players over there, but, you know, they'll look good in practice. They'll look good maybe in the online matches and stuff. But when it comes to series like this, they don't quite have that, you know, cutting edge. Now, maybe Boostio can provide that to them, and they've definitely got the talent. But until I see it, you know, I'm not going to believe it. So I'm going to have 100T going out here, and then I think I've got Sen and Lev. I think I'm going to take another bit of a hot take here on the final group as well, because I'm going to take G2 to beat Crew. I'm then going to take G2 to beat EG, and then I'm going to take Crew to beat EG. So I'm actually going to go for, I mean, it's kind of a funny take. I'm kind of doing it just because it'd be funny if it happens. But EG, the world champions, they have the number 1 seed by far. Like, it should be easy for them to qualify through this group. They have 2 relatively weak teams, but I'm going to take that they get upset, I suppose, by both teams here, and they're out of the group. But everything all kicks off today with Furia, NRG, MIBR, Cloud9, and actually later on tonight, T1 Bleed is also happening, which will be morning tomorrow, my time, early in the morning. So very much enjoyed your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.